Politicians always speak in a certain way, and it's rarely sounds very truthful at all. And even if it was disgusting, he was just speaking plainly, and they didn't take him seriously. He doesn't mean that. When confronted with reality, he's going to be fine. I think some people thought that. I think a lot of people who voted for him thought, oh, he's not that crazy guy. Everybody believed that Hillary was going to win. You can taste it. It was there. And with all of the rhetoric and all of the inflammatory things that Donald Trump said, people are nervous and they're scared.
I think it's important to note that after every election, there's usually some form of protest. People are usually upset when their guy doesn't win, whether it's Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, George Bush, whoever.
I don't know if they were all voters or not. I've never been one to say that you shouldn't speak if you didn't vote. You pay taxes, you can speak.
People who aren't normally involved in elections tend to be very, very disappointed in a lot of the decisions that end up being made. Numbers count. Who shows up and where makes a big difference.
People are upset, and a lot of people were upset when Obama got elected too.
Why not Hillary Clinton? Why not? How much time you got? Just the dishonesty and the lying.
This election was incredibly polarizing. People really disliked both candidates. I mean, most people stayed home. Most people didn't even show up to vote.
I ended up being a Hillary voter, and I think the majority of this country approached the ballots with these two choices on that ballot. Not him, not her. And that pretty much was the way I voted, was not him, more than it was for her.
It's horrible to say it, but it's like the lesser of the two evils. You know what I mean?
And it wasn't just Hillary. I mean, God knows everybody, lies in that game.
A lot of my friends and I, we work with the government, and we all understand a small slip up in something in security, she locked up in the brig. They said they just did not trust her. And now when I responded back with, do you trust Trump? They said, I trust him more than I trust Hillary.
She had a really difficult time humanizing herself. Half the game is being a person that somebody can come talk to you. And if people don't think that you can relate or understand or empathize with them, they don't think you can solve any of their problems. What problems does Hillary Clinton have?
Sniper fire in Bosnia. I mean, bro, I could go on, and you know what I'm saying? Like, how much time do you got, bro?
And even her own people at times were telling her, hey, you need to quit talking about where people can and can't use the toilet. And you talk about jobs. These things play to only certain parts of the United States. These things play to California and New York. These ideas are important, but I want to hear you talk about jobs.
They even coerced and tried to keep someone who brought crowds and crowds of people. I'm sorry? Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah, sure.
I think she was shoehorned in. I mean, the Democrats with their superdelegate process, they're going to pick who they want to pick.
I think she stole it from Bernie. Yeah. It's the difference between Hillary and Trump is that Trump outright won his nomination. He outright won it. It's surprising, and the RNC did everything to block him, and they couldn't. He won it. He won it fair and square. He beat him.
He's brash and brazen, and you can like those things about somebody, but I think ultimately if you don't have a little bit of grace and humility, I don't think it'll eventually get you very far. He proved a lot of people wrong, but he was able to capitalize on the human element for people who have been largely ignored, and he didn't ignore them. I don't really believe he's gonna solve their problems, but he said he would, and everybody knows that's what politicians do, they promise.
I know a lot of people that voted for Donald Trump. I know good people that voted for Donald Trump that I know. I know women that voted for Donald Trump.
Well, why did they vote for Donald Trump?
I have no idea.
I mean, I love some of the people that were, I call them Trumpeteers. Trumpeteers. They weren't there to believe in every single thing that Trump said. I think they were like putting a stick in the spokes of the, what's it called, conventional wisdom of the establishment. Doing the same thing over and over again wasn't working, so this was something different.
I think what made Donald successful was that he was able to humanize himself in front of the right people. I don't really believe he was outside of the establishment. I think a lot of people give him this credit for being you know, against the machine, but he participates in the machine just as much as most politicians do.
The other thing is his temperament. I think he's a vengeful person, as in if you wrong him, he'll make you aware that you wronged him, and there will be retribution to pay. And that's awesome when you're watching TV. It's different when you're dealing with people who have bombs.
You have to understand why people are upset.
I think we kind of saw the rhetoric for the last 12 months to 18 months. It had the perception of hate-based.
Because it became so acceptable during the election, like there were a lot of white supremacists, there were a lot of racists.
There's different perspectives on Build the Wall. I understand people are saying we have an illegal immigration issue, and they look at that as a resolution, but a lot of people here in the country take that as a segregation of some sort, because you're only speaking about building a wall on one quadrant of this country. We're speaking specifically about the Mexicans. And so a lot of people were kind of turned off by that. A lot of people, let's admit it, a lot of people were turned on by it, which is, I think, helped him win his election as well.
It gave a pass to be like, oh, well, we can just do this. Like, this is a thing now that everyone is doing. So we're gonna be this person in broad daylight in front of everyone else. A lot of people are confused, and I don't get that. I don't understand how you can be confused.
Here's how I take those things. I'm not emotionally bothered with Donald Trump. It won't do me any good to be emotionally bothered. Does that mean I like him? No. Does that mean I approve of him? No. What it means is I have to be analytical. I have to do the things that make me Trump-proof if I can. Ultimately, it signals to me that as a society, it's really easy just for us to turn away from people that disagree with us. But if we don't get to a place together, this is the kind of thing we're going to keep seeing.
Budget, which has risen and fallen with the political winds. But we can also see it in other ways, in the reluctance of those who hold office to set clear, achievable objectives, to provide the resources